I'd like to call the County Commission work session order. Dr. Weeks, do you mind leading us in prayer?
Father, tonight we come to you thanking you for the day you've given us. We come to you as all well, thanking you for the new year, new opportunities that you give us. Thank you for bringing us safely through the holiday season and the weather and the changes that we've seen there. The weather we saw last night, we thank you for that as gifts. Father, we thank you tonight for an opportunity to participate in government. Thank you for the positions and the members of this commission, the leaders across our county, the jobs and responsibilities that they have. Father, we just ask that you watch over us. We ask that decisions be made in the best interest of all Dickson counties. Father, it's a privilege to live in these United States in Dickson County and to be a resident of this place. Father, we just thank you for blessing us and watching over us. Thank you for the many blessings you give to us each and every day. These things we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Everyone stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, call roll, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Simpkins,
Here.
Mr. Ledger,
Here.
Mr. McElwain,
Here.
Mr. Beatty,
Here.
Mr. Dawson. Oh, God. Mrs. Spicer, Mr. Buckner,
Here.
Mr. Britt,
Here.
Mr. Petty,
Here.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Grove,
Here.
Ms. Gray.
Glad everyone's here. Commissioner Dawson has been under the weather for quite some time. Cindy called and said he wouldn't be able to make it. So think about him over the next week. First order of business here is the approval of the minutes of the December 5th, 2022 work session. Open floor for motion. Motion by Commissioner McElwain. Have a second. Second by Commissioner Gray. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next item is committee reports. Is there any committee report? Thank you. Hearing none. I do notice we have a bunch of special guests tonight, and that includes their teachers and leaders with them. Who would like to stand up and introduce you and tell you who all you got here tonight?
We're at Creekwood High School, welding department, ag department. We've got several representatives here with us. I start on the far end. It's Mr. Jones on the far end, Mr. Bone, Mash, Reed Mash, sorry. And then I've got Gentry. I'm going blank.
Help them out.
Michael Wayne. I got James, either ag teacher, and then I've got Redley Count on my left here, and I'm Vance Harper.
Thanks. Appreciate y'all being here tonight. Next item of business is appointments. The first one we have is Planning Commission. Have two to appoint here. The first one for the 6th district is Tommy Brown. The other in the 1st district reappointment is Todd Berry. I'll open the floor for a motion on those. Motion by Commissioner Spicer, second by Commissioner Ledger. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Also brought back the sanitation board. We had that in December, but between our first meeting and the regular meeting, our conflict came up with the individual that we had could not fill out his obligation on this. So brought back a new name on this. He's agreed to serve on this 3-member board. That's Mr. Robert Wetterow, former county commissioner and Portland Planning and Zoning member. It's an appointment on that. Open the floor for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Buckner, second by Commissioner McElwain. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next items of business is new business. First, at the 2023 road list, Mr. Jackie Hodges. You have sent out a road list, everyone. Everyone has a road list. Any questions from Mr. Hodges? Okay. Y'all can share. Hearing no questions, this will need a motion for us to move this on to regular session. Motion by Commissioner Spicer, second by Commissioner Ledger. Good participation tonight, everyone. Hearing no questions. All in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Item number 2 is Old Spencer Mill Road, Commissioner Spicer.
Back when I think 911 started with the new addresses, and on Old Spencer Mill Road, 2 houses got changed to Old Spencer Road. Somehow the mill got dropped. And then over the years, they ended up with a road sign at one end. Right, that says Old Spencer Mill, and one at the other end that says Old Spencer Road.
The one on Spencer Mill is Old Spencer, and the one on Doug Hill.
Is Old Spencer Mill. So this was brought to my attention because someone's fixing to build a house down there and they're like, what the heck, what's going on here? So I didn't realize that had happened. I didn't notice that sign had been changed. So we need, if there's no objection, to change that all back to Old Spencer Mill, the way it has been since 1958, I think, when Spencer Mill was built.
It's a motion by Commissioner Spicer, open floor for a second by Commissioner Grove. So it does show on the road list. Does it have it listed both ways? No. Well,
Just those two houses.
okay. Well, we'll take that up, and if we need to change on the road list, that we can do that. The other question would be is getting with 911 and making sure we have the 911 address changed correctly. So we'll have them.
Greg's the one that brought it to my attention, and he.
And I think Mr. Bone has some family members here, so they'll remind them in case that comes up. Thank you. All right, very good. All right. We have a proper motion in a second, so we'll look at those changes as far as name and 911 address.
This list.
Okay, so that motion, if what you're saying is we need to change it on the road list and be with 911. All right, we have a proper motion and second on that. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, vote by stating aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 3, budget amendment, all school funds, Board of Education representative appears to be Dr. Weeks.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Tonight, I bring a budget amendment to you that was approved by the Board of Education at its December meeting. And we are requesting to take $1.26+ million. The number exactly is $1,265,197 from fund balance. And we would like to construct a CTE building at Creekwood High School. I'm going to share some information about the building, and we'll share some pictures about the building that we're requesting to build. And then I would like to turn my portion of the time, if it's okay with the mayor, turn it over to Mr. Ray LeCount so he can talk to you about the needs of the building, the design of the building, and what that building will be used for. Well, to you, this is a project that Mr. LeCount and I started working on. It's been going on nearly 4 years now when we first received some ESSER money, and we were told that we could use some ESSER money on small projects, and we thought we'd be in good shape to have this as a small project to use ESSER money with. And through some engineering and some other opportunities that I think Mr. LeCount will share with you, it's turned into quite a larger project. And so we'll be glad to answer any questions we can about that. I have a drawing of the building or potential drawing of the building. We have some space where that building will lay on Creekwood High School's campus. And he'll talk to you about the programs and the facilities and the need for those on the property. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
I'm ready?
LeCount.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How y'all doing? I'm Ray LeCount, CTE Coordinator, Dickson County Schools. So I was asked to talk to you a little bit, give you some background on what's going on, because I've heard some things off and on. So we're looking to build a red iron engineered metal building, 60 by 120, with a 15-foot lean at Creekwood High School mainly for welding and construction. Creekwood was built at a time, and I've heard this stated before, that everybody was going to go to college. There was going to be no CTE. Historically, 35 to 40% of our students go to college. I think this last year was a little higher, around 44%. We have to have some CTE space. And what we have now at Creekwood is too tight for 2 programs. To graduate, every student has to have a focus area. 85%, a little better than 85% of both schools, Dickson County and Creekwood, of those students have CTE as a focus area. So we have a large focus for CTE. It later on, and I'm not going to get into TISA funding, I had to be careful. I get all out in the weeds over here, but all this matters. So some facts here for you. Currently, welding has about 900 square feet in the building. Every place I've looked in a lot of states, I study several other states, usually they're recommending 3,600 square feet. We have 900 square feet. We have 3 welding 1 classes with 55 students, 2 welding 2 classes with 28 students. Those are 2-hour blocked. Mr. Harden gives up the planning so he can teach 2 of those classes, 83 students. And that's a little over the 16 and a half per class. In CTE, a 20-to-1 ratio is what they say, 25-to-1 is maximum, 20-to-1 what they recommended, what they want to do. Now, the 16.5 students pretty much average per class is higher than I wanted because of our small space and safety. We about 2-3 years ago, we did have an accident. I think our teachers do an outstanding job teaching safety, doing all this, but you're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old, no offense, guys. And you just don't know sometimes. So, but they keep inching it up, Creekwood does, because so many people are asking to take welding. That's where we are. Our welding students get 2 dual enrolled classes with TCAT Dickson, and starting next year, they may get 3. So that's TCAT hours that they can use for free. They will receive or have the opportunity to receive 7 industry credentials, OSHA 10, AWS Sense entry level welding, and 5 Lincoln Electric welding certifications. Construction has about 1,080 feet. If you've ever been to Creekwood, I feel like when they built Creekwood, they were thinking of an automotive, excuse me, I can't talk, body kind of a repair shop because it's got a bay, but it's a small bay. ASE, I remember this, I was told this while we moved automotive maintenance like repair to Dickson. ASE, the governing body for the industry credential, said it was too small. And these industry credential people will tell you it's too small. It's too small right now for AWS welding, American Welding Society, but they kind of turned a blind eye for us, and we appreciate that. The reason I say that because they have a very small bay that looked like a paint bay or something. That's just what I'm guessing. I don't know exactly what it was for. So about 1,080 square feet. We got 2 fundamentals of construction classes with 26 students, 2 construction classes, 35 students, 2 construction 2 classes with 37 students. These guys get OSHA 10 and at least 2 NCCER credential tests, and we can expand that if needed because I buy those, and the way they're doing it now for $20 a kid, you can take as many as you want. So we may expand that. We've secured dual enrollment with TCAT Dickson for construction. That was done this year. And by the 23-24 school year, again, we'll be able to offer it to sophomores, which for us is a game changer when we look ahead to ready graduate and that kind of thing that the state wants. But it doesn't affect just those 2 classes. It affects 3 more classes. Mechatronics. Mechatronics has a classroom that's really a classroom and a half. If you think of that size, it's like a full classroom and half of another one. So it's pretty decent size, but it has so much equipment in it right now that I purchased the last several years. And then we just got a new grant this year that I'm going to purchase quite a bit more for them. They have to move things and then do their class, then move things back to do their activities. So what we want to do with mechatronics, and mechatronics has the same dual enrollments and had industry credentials. What I want to do with mechatronics is if we build this building and we move construction and welding out there, we can clean it up real well, the bays, and move mechatronics down there. that gives them a big space. And there's a classroom kind of diagonally off that lab that criminal justice lives in. I can put mechatronics in that classroom because it's a regular classroom. Because mechatronics, you do some work in the classroom and then you go to your lab. Now, criminal justice, which is another big program for us and for both schools, actually, they have little space because they do a lot of activities, a lot of CSI type activities. I can move them up to that old mechatronics room, classroom and a half with storage. So they can do their class. They can come out here in this extended part and work on their CSI activities and all the stuff that they do. Then there's one that I didn't really think of till just today when I was talking to Mr. Harden, Ag. Years ago, through a grant, there was a building built right outside that bay, and it was built on a special ed grant. And the idea was the special ed kids were going to sell fruits and vegetables. Mr. James grew in his greenhouse. It never quite materialized. Anyway, my first year, maybe my second year, they gave me that building after I asked for it, a couple dozen times. So we've been using that building because another grant that myself, Alex Wilson, who no longer here.
That was by his choice, not mine. Let's make that clear for the record.
Alex was great. He helped me a lot. But anyway, we wrote the grant and got a CNC plasma cutter, several welders, that kind of thing. So that CNC plasma cutter has been in that building. And I think Mr. Harden said he's got a couple other, at least 2 other projects going on in that building. And that's what we have to do. We have 4 welding bays that we got one of our partners to, for free, pull us more electricity in. So, 4 welding bays that are 4x4. So it's like one person can get in that bay. Then we have some grinding stations. We have some different things, but we got that CNC plasma cutter out in another building, and we got out there where we do projects. And with this last grant, got part of that grant with all the welders was a portable welder, runs on gasoline. It's a generator, so we can run that welder and 2 other welders. So then they can take it out because we have no space there. And that's my problem. One of my fears is safety. As I said again, we've got that going on in welding and construction. It's the same thing. We got an old red building, will be questionable. And if it rains, we're in trouble because we can't work outside. So we've got 2 large classes working out of that one spot. I don't want to have to, do something about that, but, I'm a little nervous about that part. What questions y'all have for me?
Questions for Mr. LeCompte or Dr. Weeks?
Yeah.
Just jump in there. Any for Mr. LeCompte while we have him up here.
The bid process and stuff, probably
Oh,
Dr.
well, hey,
Why do we put it in the parking lot? Good idea. I wanted to put it 30 feet from the building. Because the fire marshal, Scotty Harrell, he said if it's more than 30 feet from the building, we don't have to wire it into the building with the fire alarm, which costs more. So I was going to put it there. Then we sold 3.5 years ago when we started this. Our thought was we could be the general contractor, but I was incorrect on that, but we were trying to plan it like that, so you have to hire a general contractor. So I was looking, and I was being told that we looked at what's running underneath there, and it's electrical, it's gas, it's fire, it's water, and it's drainage water. So it was like, well, you can't put it here. So we moved it back a little bit, and we kept having to move it back. At one time, we were going to knock down the big flagpole, not flagpole, but the internet connection that we had back there. I just called the flagpole because Billy McGee, I don't know if y'all remember him, but he at one time he told the guys, y'all see what size flag goes on. But it went all the way out. The last thing we had was in the parking lot at the first round of the last thing of fire department water was. So we put it on the other side.
Commissioner Grove, do you have a question?
Might be for Dr. Weeks. The only thing about the building, and I would say it'd probably be at Doctor's Weeks too, is this in concurrent with any plans that, the Creekwood Middle, if we built onto the Creekwood High School in future, would it interfere with, do you all have a future plan if we build on classrooms?
I don't think so. If we were to build a Creekwood Middle School, I don't think so. Okay. If we were to build on the high school, without having all of the underground plans and everything we need, right now, our only place to expand is in that back parking lot where you see that diagram built there between baseball, softball. You know, there's a soccer field up there that could be utilized for some space. That's about the only other flat land that's up there. You know, and we could consolidate some space with other sporting activities if we had to, but that would be, you know, there's a lot of land there, but there's a lot of unusable land there because of the way that land lies. I know that's not really a yes or no question. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer, but it would be tough to expand that building in any direction without coming, in my view of it, of coming in one of those two parking lots, either the back parking lot or the front parking lot. It would be difficult.
I want to ask Mr. LeCompte some questions unless y'all have any for Mr. LeCompte, and then because no, that's fine. So is it something, which one?
No, which one? There's two drawings and one of them's a little bigger than the other. Like I said,
They're not drawn to scale.
right. Are we closer to the black Sharpie or the yellow Sharpie?
Let me look. Oh, the yellow Sharpie. And you can see the three little islands there, grass islands.
Right, yes.
We're going to have to put it right there. It doesn't come that far out is what we figured, because some of our board really wanted the buses to still be able to go around.
Right.
So
The other one looked like it took up.
yeah, the other one was big, and you had to, excuse me, the first one I drew, probably I had the building turned this way. Then we said, no, let's turn it this way because it, yeah, you know, anyway, it just made it better. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ledger.
That affect during game days, because it's already tied up there.
Yeah, it's tight. It takes up some parking. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't think it will affect much. I would have to defer to some Creekwood people more. I go up there game day a lot, and I just park on the road, but because I want to get out. But I don't, you know, I don't. Again, you know, a lot of people ask about parking for students. Well, all the students park in the back. I mean, we got the whole side that's just wide open. So I think we'd have to really gain numbers, but you know, how it's going to take up something for game day, you know, a few spaces. Again, that yellow drawing is not accurate. I might could figure it out. I forgot how many spaces, how wide they are, but you know, it's not.
I was just going to ask, what is the, is it at 55% capacity of the school there or 50%? I'm trying to remember what the population of the high school there is.
Population's around 800. I don't have the number right off the top of my head, but around 800. It's probably 70-75% capacity. This building would be totally CTE space that cannot be contained within the building itself. It'd be dedicated toward those two classes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Simpkins?
On board is the board members, school board members on board with this?
The board passed it at their last meeting. It was not a unanimous vote.
Unanimous?
No, it was not.
How many voted for and how many voted against?
I believe it was 4-2.
4-2.
Yes.
Did they cite reasonings what the two opposing?
No, sir. I think it's just like this body. When a body takes action on something, that's the will of the board. And so the board comes out with, the board has in essence supported it by voting for it. At that point, I think it becomes a board vote, not an individual vote. So I know there was discussion. Same thing that we talked about, price, location, other space. I think all of those were in place, but I don't recall specifically anybody saying why they voted or didn't vote for it. And again, I
At the time that you took the bid, was it last year's? How old is this bid?
This bid came to us. We opened the bid this fall. And so we had one bidder on there. I think I sent an email to everyone that explained that. I'd received a question about the bidding process. So we received that one bid on there. And anytime we receive one bid, we have the opportunity to go back to the bidder and talk to them and negotiate a little bit with them. And there were two pieces of that we had negotiated. One was dealing with some heaters. One was dealing with some fixtures in there. And then the last one was we originally had planned to pay for the building out of federal funds. And when we pay for items out of federal grant money, we have to use something called the Davis-Bacon Wage Act. That requires us to pay laborers at federal wages rather than existing Tennessee wages. And so when we met with the people, we told them that we would consider paying for it out of local dollars and state dollars instead of federal dollars. And I think we saved about $300,000 out of that. So that changed that bid considerably.
Are you comfortable with the bid, being it's just a one bid?
Yes, sir, I am. I mean, it's easy to say, and I think the first time Mr. LeCount met with me, he said, I think we can build a metal building out there for about $150,000. I said, okay, let's go. And, I guess if we own, our own personal land, and maybe we could, maybe we couldn't at today's prices, I don't know. But, on school property, obviously it has to be engineered, it has to be drawn, it has to be scaled, it has to be blueprinted, it has to be fire marshal approved, it has to meet several regulations and requirements there. So do I like the bid? No, it's it seems very high to me to build a metal building of this sorts, but I know if we were to go out and bid it again, prices are bound to go up again.
That's my next question.
That'd be my fear.
Yeah, that's my next question. Do you think if you did rebid, if maybe get two bidders, that the price would be any lower? And I know that's a $64,000 question.
I'm sure it is. I do know this bid is only good through December. And so that's why the Board of Education approved it at their December meeting. And so they understand that it's pending the action of this body. I think the piece of just the metal building itself, that bid was good through December. There's electricity costs in there, lots of concrete in this bid, and lots of concrete required for the slab and everything of that. So I know those costs aren't going down. So that would be my fear if we did. And honestly, when I think when you see a project like this, I think you either know if you're going to bid on it or not. It went out both through our engineering firm that did that, as well as through the CTE program and through so it's had opportunity to get looked at. And I would think, I'm not a contractor and I'm an educator, but I would think if I saw the project and thought, yeah, I'm really going to jump on that, or don't have any interest in it for whatever reason it is, that would be my fear of rebidding.
Thank you.
Dr. Weeks, this bid's already updated then, right?
They've agreed to hold it based upon the action of this body.
How long did they hold the bid? Usually it's 3 months, a bid 6 months, a bid's good for.
They held it for us at the Board of Education through December, and our board approved it December 15, 16, somewhere our last meeting. And
when was it submitted?
Bids were opened in November. I think I sent that to you, October and November.
And I apologize because my email was hacked and I need to give you a new email. So I don't have any of your information. So we closed the bids in November and it was done in December.
I think we opened bids in October. We renegotiated through the month of November. Board approved it in December.
But the bid was already outdated by the time it come to us.
They have agreed to hold it through action of this month. Action of this body, Fellowship Construction.
Where they at?
Yeah, Bon Aqua.
Bon Aqua?
Yes, ma'am.
That don't make
I
sense.
live in Bon Aqua. I've never heard of them.
They built the fire station on West Iron Hill.
Oh, okay. I knew I knew the name, but I didn't know they were from Bon Aqua. So. I don't know, the one bid thing scares me. I wouldn't build a house with one bid. I mean, I'm looking at building a shop now and I'm not gonna build it with one bid. But how does that bid get put out? Is it, I mean, in the paper? How does it get published?
Yes, ma'am. We're required to publish all requests for bids in the newspaper. OLG, who's the engineering firm, they through their industry, they send out bids to people who are looking, I think it's construction leads, how they do that. So it just goes out to people that they regularly do business with. They've done work for us before, and they're the ones that did all of our window and door projects at Dickson Elementary. They've done the work at, they constructed both of our welcome centers at both of our high schools. And they've been very good to work with. We enjoy working with them.
I had no idea they were involved. I heard of them, but I didn't know they were involved.
Dr. Weeks, one more thing. I see on your email here that Ms. Gray just gave me, the sealed bids was actually open on October 15th, correct?
Okay.
So you had the October school board meeting and November due school board meeting. And now you've come at us last minute with the bid is reserved, is canceled pretty much. I know you've talked to them, but why are we just now getting this 3 months after the bid so the mayor could work on it and give us correct information, make sure it's paid?
We received the bid in October. It was considerably higher than what Mr. LeCount had originally talked to me about. And at that time, I was not prepared to present that bid to the Board of Education. As I said earlier, when we have one bidder, we have the opportunity to go back to that bidder and negotiate with them on some of the projects. So we pulled 3 items from the original bid, some heaters, some lighting fixtures and other fixtures there, and the adjustments that I made that I told you about in terms of the wages and the labor that would go into that building. So I brought it to the Board of Education on December 15th. And this is the first meeting that this commission has had since that meeting. So I don't think we've delayed at all. I think this is the timely and appropriate place to bring a bid to you after it was approved in December 15th.
Extra stuff in there rather than just the metal building and the concrete and.
Let me let Mr. LeCount address that.
It's a red iron metal building on a concrete slab with good electricity. I will say that, good upgraded electricity.
For welding, I would think that.
Yeah, because we had to have more, and then if we expand and we get other things, we want to make sure we wasn't having to come back trying to get, but that's what it is. I mean, I don't think there's anything else. We're gonna run a fiber out there just for for Wi-Fi security, but past that, that's about.
Did you mention that you had some companies help you with some of the costs and stuff?
We have, okay, that's true. In the beginning, that's where this bid was a little lower, which is 3.5 years ago. We were figuring 159, maybe 200. But we was also figuring,
Mr. LeCount, he requested you speak.
oh, excuse me. Okay.
They're having trouble hearing you on YouTube.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Wolf and Travis. Like, for example, Wolf and Travis, one of our partners, they were going to do the electrical. Now, where the problem ran into when the general contractor put his team together, Wolf and Travis said, we can help you later, but we can't, if we go in there now, we're knocking out their electrical. So that was a little tricky. They didn't want to do that. Now we have other people that's going to help us with the gas extraction, the venting of the welding gases and things. after it's done. You know, they're gonna come in and who was that?
National sheet metal.
Nashville Sheet Metal. So, you know, TW Frierson started talking to us about this years ago, and I was really hoping they would bid. But, you know, they said, well, it's just kind of too small for us. And I'm like, it's big, seems big to me, but I don't know, you know. But that's where we are on that.
So is the exterior gonna be, I know you're saying it's a red.
Yeah,
It's red iron, but is the exterior going to be metal or brick or it's gonna be metal?
just,
Okay.
it's gonna be insulated. I forgot about the insulation package comes with it, but metal, yes.
Mayor, my question would be to you, do you need time to review this? Because I know we've already moved a lot of money out of their debt services. I mean, they're reserved this year. Are you prepared for us to move on this? If you need time to study it and get with Mr. Hall, or what would be your recommendation?
It would, it's always will the commission, but to give you a good analysis on it, I have received some numbers, but we hadn't really got them in detail. I didn't get them earlier today when I found this out. We've already moved roughly $1.3 million out of school fund balance into operating so far. So an additional 1.265 would have us around 2.6 million. I don't know their numbers well enough to give you a recommendation tonight that this can be, that this is financially feasible. I would need time on that.
Mayor, I got a question. All right, the building is how many square foot? 1,080?
Well, it's 120 by 60, so it'd be 7,200 plus a 15-foot lean on the outside.
7,200
Mhm.
and 15-foot lean. I know there's people on this commission as builders. If that was divided into a square footage, is that a good price? Does anybody know? Danny, would you know on the commission? What that would be?
Yeah, not without any details, like knowing the plans, you know, it's hard to know. I think what's that about $160 a square foot? I think things right now are so crazy. You can't estimate nothing. I mean, materials are all over the board and everybody knows, I mean, cost is through the roof right now. So that'd even be hard to, you know, I mean, not knowing all the details.
Was one of my questions on this. I mean, we had this bid. Do we have any more detailed construction plans than this?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I just didn't bring them. I didn't know, you know, but we have a book, we have all kinds of construction plans.
Well, it'd be something, you know, and again, it's always will the commission. But I'd like to get some of our folks that do that in-house and others to maybe review those plans. You know, we built the airport fire station that y'all approved, and it's in the process of being built. And we were initially going to do red iron, but we quickly figured out we would have numbers like this. So we declined the bid on it and went back and actually, I don't think we had a bid. I think we could go out and seek prices then, but red iron was too much. We went through Summertown Metals. I can't tell you that. We did wood frame. It's still metal structure on that, but it is wood frame, and got it back into budget that y'all approved on that. So again, that was a concrete slab. I think that was around 3,600 square foot. Donnie Bayer's in the bag. He can text me if that's wrong figure on that. And it was to basically in that we had a concrete pad along with a gas heater. We can't let the water and the fire trucks and ambulance get texts coming in. I was correct. Thank you. 3,600 square feet. And we're going to be in that whole building out there a little less than $300,000 on that. Now, again, that's why with their plans, there may be another electrical load that we're not going to be using in that building. We'll simply have lights and a gas heat. So it's really hard for me to say that's a comparison right there without us getting one of our internal folks to look at some of the plans on that. Commissioner Beatty.
You know, I got questions. Dr. Weeks, Mr. LeCount, whoever, probably both of you. I'm for this, but I want to do it like I'm thinking, I guess. my buddy Mac up here built a pretty good building, 100 by 100, lock and key, pretty much $100 a square foot. So he's got 10,000 square foot up there, just a little over $1 million. So I'm thinking, all right, kind of same deal. We're just going 7,200 feet. I'm wanting it at $100 a foot. That's $720,000. That's a 400. If I right now, y'all got it at about $166 a square foot. I get the electric, and like I said, that may be, he doesn't, but if Stacy Beatty bid out something and I got one bid, I would turn around and start calling some other people and saying, hey, I've got this, I'm wanting to build, give me a bid on it. I guess who does our bidding? Who did this?
I appreciate that. And if I were doing something at home, I would do the same thing, Mr. Beatty. County government does not have that privilege to do that. So
They can't call and say, hey, we didn't get enough, we didn't get but one bid.
we receive sealed bids up until the time that they're to be opened.
All right, so can county government, can we rebid it then? I've had a couple of builders saying they can't find the bid. They don't know who's doing the bidding, how we getting it. We can't find it because, and I guess I just want to know how we're bidding this out. And like I said, who's bidding it and how we're doing this, because like I said, I'm all for this.
Sure.
But my motion is going to be for us to rebid it and maybe not rebid this to March, because I'm going to disagree with you on, I think everything's trending down.
Okay.
And I think if we rebid this joker about March, even May, I know that pushes us out, and maybe we're trying to get this. If we do it now, we're going to be ready by fall, by September. I get it. We need this. Creekwood needs this. I'm all for it, 100%. But I'm wanting to work on these numbers. If it says, well, we're going to lose this bid at midnight tonight if we don't make this vote, and I guess I'm willing to take that chance.
And I understand your position and I respect that very much. If this commission rejects moving forward with this, of course, it'll go back to our board for a decision on what they do with it. They may.
But could our recommendation be to rebid it?
Understand. They may take that action, or they may scrap the entire project. I don't know. I cannot speak for the board when they're not here.
So we're just pretty much going to have to kill it or not kill, or do it or not. And then we'll go back to your board, or could we make a recommendation to send it back to the board and ask for a read?
Anytime that I'm here, I take your recommendations back to the board and I share those with the board members. So.
Well, and I don't want to kill it. I'm not here to kill it.
I understand.
But I think we might.
Did my explanation of the bidding process that you received via email, did that not answer your questions about how we bid and when we bid and where we bid?
Maybe I'm just don't understand it good enough. And like I said, and that's a talk me and you can tell me afterwards and say, hey, this is, but I'm not comfortable voting for this tonight. And, if we're in a position to say, hey, we got to have it tonight. If we got to have it tonight, I think I want to be for sending it back to the school board.
Interesting.
But if we can, like I said, I don't know, Mayor, like I said, do we need, and this may be a great bid. I should say, I don't know enough to be comfortable. And I'd like to rebid this thing.
Do you know how much fund balance? Do you know kind of where your fund balance is?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. We started the year with $25.5 million. Check my papers. Okay, no, sir. Here they are. We started the year with a $25.5 million fund balance. Through the projects that you have approved, which was buying buses, which was the work at Dickson Middle School, and the consultant fees, that was roughly $1.3 million. So that would leave us with 24.2 million. And then this is 1.3.
Dr. Weeks on that, but, and again, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit disadvantaged on it. Was that the audited fund balance or is that the,
That's fund balance as of 21. So that was June of 21. That's last year's audited fund balance.
okay, so but we just have the books, we just had the audits have been turned over to y'all yet, the school?
No.
Okay,
We've had our exit interview, but I'm not seeing the final audit.
all right, thank you. I know we all just get bits and pieces of that. I hadn't received mine yet either.
Does this process, is it gonna be heated food? Does it have bathroom facilities?
No bathrooms, no water, no bathrooms, no water. It's got heat. There's no cooling. We didn't need cooling. We'll open the doors. We've got fans.
Gonna build an outhouse out there or what?
We want to put maybe do something. like
For safety reasons, you'd have to have water just to wash your eyes out.
Yeah,
It
we
does
got
have-
water.
It does have water.
We got water coming up to it. We don't have it inside.
Mr. County.
So this is 1.3 million for that whole building.
Yes. Yeah.
We're open for any motion that commission like to make.
I mean, I make a motion.
Who pushed the first button?
I make a
Commissioner
motion
Brown?
if they don't want to suspend it and open it back up for I'd say 60 days to rebuild it. If that's not on the table, my motion is to deny this.
Commissioner Reagan, that the instructions back to school board sound to be problematic.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Dr. Weeks said is he'll carry back if the will of the commission is to vote down the request for this amendment, then it's just a straight up and down vote to deny it. But it comes with the explanation that he can deliver back so that they know that you're welcome for it to be represented if they go through that process. So if I understand what you're trying to accomplish, your motion is that you're making the motion to deny the request for the budget amendment. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm like Stacy, I'm for the project. I think it needs to be done, but I think the bid process needs to be reexamined. And I think I need more explanation that I've not really got tonight. I think that I'm with Stacy, Commissioner Basie. I'm not happy with the explanation I got. So my motion at this time is to send it back to the school board on a no for building at this time with the recommendation to review it and send it back to us.
Okay, what's the actual amendment for us is, and I understand, and we'll have that discussion directly thereafter. But the actual request was to approve this, but you made a motion to deny it. So that's your motion. I have a second. Second by Commissioner Ledger. Okay. Again, the discussion on this motion is we have proper motion second. This is deny the budget request. Now, for informational purposes, what you requested, Commissioner Grove, or any of the others, which I think we all are going to have suggestions for them if this passes. And a yes vote is to deny, to make sure you understand that as we go forward, we can give these suggestions, but we need to, we can give recommendations, but we cannot give instructions to the school board. So the school board's an independent elected body and they can make their own decisions. So we have to act on what we can legally act on. So with that, Commissioner Beatty.
Can we,
The discussion needs to be on the motion to deny this. Now, we'll come back and open it back up to talk about recommendations to the school board, but it can't, I want to we're on this item right now, and the item is to deny the request to amend the school board's budget. We'll have a roll call vote also. No,
I'd like to have a little bit more debate if we could on.
you can have, you've got a motion to deny this.
Okay.
The motion is second. Now, you can ask to amend their motion to carry on other discussion, but give me a direct, what are you trying to accomplish? And I'll help you.
Okay, I guess my question would be, by the time they go back through the bid process, if the school board puts this in their budget and brings it back, we're fixing to start the budget process in a month or two, I would assume. And by the time the school board goes through rebidding all this, if they put it in their budget and it comes as the budget package, then it wouldn't be an amendment. It would just be in the budget. And I guess that's what I would rather see. I guess my question would be correct. I mean, if you put this in your budget for next year and it passes, I mean, I guess that's my question is, then it wouldn't be an amendment. I mean, and that's what I guess,
Yeah. Well,
I
if we
guess I've
get
got
it,
more heartburn about, I'm for the project. We need it. Believe me, I'm in the construction industry. If we don't get more of these kids involved in trades, this country's not going to survive. But also, you know, it seems like we're doing amendments every month over here, you know, and I know what that leads up to. It leads up to down the road, you know, you wind up in problems, you know, so I guess I would just say, I would like to see this, more of these larger, you know, projects in your budget. And I
okay.
don't know, that's just, I don't know.
No, and again, I appreciate what you said. We can come back to this discussion. We need to act on this motion right now. And then we can, everybody's got opinion and I got one too. So we're going to air them out here in about 30 seconds if y'all vote on this to deny it. So the motion is to deny this. We have a proper motion second. Now the discussion on this is about denying this, if you're for or against denying it. Is there any discussion on that? So again, the motion is to deny. So a yes vote is to deny, no vote is not to deny. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
No.
Mr. Ledger,
Yes.
Mr. McElwain,
Yes.
Mr. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson, I'm sorry, Ms. Spicer,
Yes.
Mr. Buckner,
Yes.
Mr. Britt,
No.
Mr. Petty,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Grove,
Yes.
Ms. Gray. Yes.
Madam Clerk, the totals.
8.
All right. The motion carries to deny. Thank you. Now, everybody's got an opinion and everybody's had almost opportunity to talk, but we're going to make sure everybody gets opportunity to talk. Commissioner Simpkins, you'd like to give any input on this? And we're going to take you numerically. We're going 1 through 12.
Just as I am for the project, like my concerns was the single bid. And like I say, I've been here a long time and I always like if we follow up on something. And we're following the school board. And if you've got 2 on there that's voted no, and you've got 4 on there that's voted yes, that always gives me something in the back of my mind that somebody's knowing something that we're not. And that was my 2 concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ledger.
Well,
I'm in the industry as well, where I use the students that come out of the school systems. However, no restrooms, it's just a shell building. I don't see the price, and the price may be dead on, but not at current rate that I'm building at. So, or involved in. But it does need to be done, but the numbers aren't there. There's no restrooms. It's just a shell of a building. So
Thank you. Commissioner McElwain.
Weeks, let's rebid it and let's build it.
Commissioner Beatty.
This. I pulled that email that you sent me that you said, did you not read your email?
I know, sir.
Well, that's the way I understood
No,
it,
sir,
you know.
I'm taking full responsibility. Did I not explain it well enough?
And listen, I'm you the man, so I'm picking on you. What you said was we follow all state requirements and board policies related to such bids.
Yes.
That's what I want to know what they are. I don't know. And listen, we're the same thing. The county bids, the way we do it. I guess I want to know how, heck, I want to know how we bid stuff. Sometimes we bid stuff that I don't disagree with at all. And I understand that it is state government and we've got to do, but you know, I guess, is Gerald just going out here and handing it to 2 or 3? Or I know we're putting it in the paper, but I want to know who's handling this. I mean, do we have an engineering firm handling? I would just like to know how the school board handles their bid. I want to know how our county that's, you know, I want to know how we do our bidding.
Okay.
We'll walk through that when we get to them. Let's get everybody's questions because
You know,
I'll
so
probably have plenty to talk about.
So it says board policies and related to such bids. So that's all. I would just like to know how we bid it. And like I said, if we can rebid this thing, when it comes back in here, you know, if it does, I'll be for it. Like I said, we may be shooting ourselves in the foot, not taking this one. I get it, but I'd rather take it.
Thank you, Commissioner Spicer.
But the one bid bothers me. I want more bids.
Thank you, Commissioner Buckner.
Excuse me, I'm for it, 100% for it. But
I'm a little hesitant on the amount. I know me and Mr. LeCount, we've had this conversation several times before about this type of training and everything. And it's needed, really needed, not just here in Dickson County, but nationwide. And I'd just like to see the numbers come down a little bit for what we're getting.
Thank you, Commissioner Brett.
I'm for the project. I know people are struggling to get people to bid on these small jobs, and really 1.2, 1.3 million is not that big of a job. And I would be surprised if the bids come back, there was much difference at all.
Thank you, Commissioner Petty,
Agree with everything that's been said.
Commissioner Williams.
Same thing. I mean, I'm definitely for the project. I just feel like probably what's got it is the one bid, and who knows what the next bid will be. We don't know that, but hopefully we'll have more participation. But I would like to see these size projects. I guess I would like to see the school board again. I've been preaching this over here for a couple of months. I'd still want to see a long range plan, and I think something this size should be in our long range plan, and I guess going back, I would rather the school board put this in their budget, and then if the budget's approved, bid it later. And that's what I would recommend for these size projects. And I understand you got to amend the budget every once in a while, but I think it should just be one time or an emergency. We've had multiple, things, and you've done a great job with the fund balance, and we've been building it up, and it's great. And these type projects are great. I just like to see them in the budget, and that's my only comment. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Grove.
Yeah, I'm 100% what Danny just said. I'm 100% for it, but I believe there's a process. I believe it might be a budget issue. I believe we need to work a little bit closer with the mayor and Don Hall on this stuff. And like I said, if the school board decides to bring it back and that's the number, I'll be voting for it. But I want to make sure that we go through the process the right way.
Commissioner Gray, excuse me.
I'm like everybody else. I'm for this project. I come from a family of tradesmen, so I'm totally for it. And I applaud the young people that are here tonight and being participants for this. I also wanted to ask, at what point is the Board of Education brought in on this project? I mean, did they have time to review it more than just the meeting in December, or at what stages of this project process were they involved in?
So I'm going to ask Mr. LeCount again we had an industry fair, I guess that was in August, where really this project was rolled out publicly and discussed. I think there were a couple of board members there, but you can talk a little bit about that industry fair if you don't mind.
Well, okay, well, the industry fair, the year before, I think it was August, September, I had to go in front of the board to get permission to bid. And then we had to go through plan review, which is, I've learned a lot on this little journey. Plan review was pretty tough. Then the industry fair was talking about, we had a couple of board members there, and we wrote it out. And we had several, about 20 some odd industry people, companies, and they were all there. And that's where we said we were going to try to do this. We made it through plan review, and we just had to bid it out. And so my understanding was, we bid it out and give it to the board.
Thank you. I'm sorry,
No,
having
go
a question. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I know some remaining questions. I know Commissioner Beatty had some discussion and some comments by Commissioner Williams I'd like to respond to. And so you and I might want to jointly with Commissioner Beatty. The bidding process is done by typically with me, our county attorney, and our finance director, Don Hall. Don and Mr. Reagan do a lion's share of the work because they know what they're doing and I really don't. Mine's just to have the concept and move it forward. We follow all state regulations on bidding that we post it properly, depending on the size of the job and type of job, depends on where we spend the money. to do that. Almost everything shows up either the Dickson Herald or Dickson Post. But when you're doing the larger the job, you cast that net a little further. You get in the Tennessean, some building trade type things. When the project's big enough, which are a lot of them, our engineer or architect involved, they'll go carry the packages and send them out to builders that they've had build in the past to try to get the maximum number of bids as we can. As Commissioner Brittrell pointed out, the irony is $1.5 million is not considered to be a big job anymore. I think as I informed y'all last time or a month ago, the work on the farmers market turned into that same fiasco where that initially was about a $750,000 project and then moved to over $2 million. And it came back. Frierson did our package and went out and solicited bids as a construction manager at risk. And that was basically the answer they're getting back. One is in relativity, it's not a big job. They were padding the job in case they got caught with prices going up. And third, we're government. So we're at a disadvantage. We talked about all those type things. What we would do at our homes, our personal businesses, we're hamstrung by the law to make us be honest, but there's an expense to being honest is what they're trying to accumulate. The bid that we did on the fire hall at the airport, and again, Mr. Bear's in the back, I can't recall if we got one bid or 0 bids, but at that point, if we had bids, we rejected all bids. If we didn't have any bids, it put us in a position to go out and solicit business. And again, if I'm getting out in the deep water, my attorney can help me, but basically what we were able to do, we did what I think value engineering is a cool term of throwing stuff overboard. So we went from a red iron building to a wood frame building, still metal, carries out the needs we need to do to get it back in the budget. So we went out and were able to seek people to do that. That's where Summertown Metals is the one that has that job now, and the construction is going on as we speak on that. So again, Mr. Reagan, can you add anything else to the bidding process on that? And if he can't, Dr. Weeks, is there anything y'all do differently than that?
No, sir. It's completely the same process. Then we always have a pre-construction meeting if we're talking about construction. So we bring in everybody who's even interested in bidding at that point in time. They come in, we talk about the project. OLG was our engineer on this project. So they talked about, where it's going to be, what it's going to do. After that, we invite all of those people who are at the building, who are at the pre-construction meeting to actually come on site and look, here's where we're going to build it. Here's where it's going to attach to the school. And so they all have that opportunity to be available at that. We have a date and a time, just as the commission does, to sealed bids must be received in this office by this date, this time. They're opened publicly by our purchasing clerk. She opens the envelope, reads out the bid. It's recorded on a bid sheet, and then those bid sheets are on file in our office. So same process.
It's our benefit to seek out bids and make those phone calls on that. Yes.
And that was my only question. That's what, if we had a bid package so you can, I know when I say you can, the school board, county government can take those packages. And I guess, if you're building a building like this, who builds those buildings. Can we go to their, seem like we just need to go out and you said solicit bid. Hey, bid, here's this bid, instead of just sitting back and just saying, hey, if they come good, if they don't good, I guess. So we can, as a county government,
absolutely,
put together and make sure, a couple of guys, local people, make sure, hey, you got these bids, we're open on these dates. So we can do that at least.
Absolutely.
I just worry we're not doing that.
Well, we are. And then the irony is on the other side, when it comes time to turn in your bid at 10 o'clock on a Thursday morning, one person's standing there with 2 envelopes. And then when they see nobody else is bidding, they hand us that bid envelope and they carry this one with them.
Well, so I just want to make sure our school, whoever does that, is talking to them people up front a couple of weeks ahead. Hey, here's the bid, y'all, bid on this thing. So we can, people that's building buildings like this, we can go the Summertown Metals, you can just name after name that you could go hand a bid to, and say, hey, give us a bid on this. So I just want to make sure we're out there, school board, government, everybody's
right
out there
To get your questions on
Yes,
that?
sir.
All right, thank you. On Commissioner Williams, and he made some statements and it's some things we've kind of talked about over time. In February, I will be having a class that some of you have attended, Commissioner Gray, Commissioner Ledger. I think Commissioner Britt, did you get both of my classes? Did you go both nights? So, on the second night, you're all welcome to come. It lasts 2 hours. We do provide refreshments. But we go over budgeting, some of the things. Didn't see you, Mr. Petty's head's in the way, but you're all welcome. Everyone's welcome. It's free. And we'll be doing those in February, but we go over the whole budgeting deal. The nuance with school budgets, as we all know, and I'm remiss, we need to go over this periodically. We're based on our funding on maintenance of effort. So it's a cute little dance that we do because state legislature thinks, and probably rightfully so, that some county commission is going to get mad one day at the school board and not give them as much money as they did last year. So they've solved that by providing a maintenance of effort number that we always have to maintain. There's a few reasons you can drop it, but what it does is you have to have a lower school attendance is basically the biggest item that would make it. I want to point out during dropping attendance, we've never lowered our maintenance of effort. We've actually increased it. And I'll make that speech later on, not tonight. But you look at what we do, we know that the school is going to receive more funding than we put in our maintenance of effort. So us knowing that, the school board, I'm sure unconsciously, always budgets more than revenue they take in because they realize they're going to get more revenue from us. So what that does every year is Dr. Weeks gives us a budget, which shows their budget being a negative number, that their expenses exceed their revenues. So what I do is after I get all those numbers, I look at MOE projections and then act like we're a real business and what do I really think our revenue will be. So when I come back in here and give you a budget and y'all, the question is, are you comfortable with the school's budget? I'm telling you yes, because what I've done is I've treated them like a real business that they're going to make actually another $3 million in revenue or $4 million in revenue. So they're going $4 million in the hole. In my mind, I know it's a balanced budget, but that's the little dance we have every year on this. So that being said, we come back to true fund balance and what it is. Fund balancing, as you obviously know, is a pretty word for your savings account. And like we all do, we throw a little extra money in the savings account for that rainy day. But then when it's not raining so hard, we get to go on vacation or build a new building, whatever you might want to do. So I don't have a problem coming in looking at capital projects as we go. But as especially Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Grovey pointed out, to me, that needs to be a bigger part of the long-term plan because it's one-time spending. We can't ever get in a position to use that money above the MOE figure and my revenue figure. Once we start using it on a consistent basis to operate, we're doing deficit spending, just like we complain about our Congress doing right now. So that's the fine balance we go through every year. So I'm just telling that story, not a negative one, other than the fact is, I don't mind when the school board comes back, as long as y'all said, it's part of a bigger plan on that. So I don't know if I made that any clearer or muddy, but in my mind, it made perfect sense. So is there any other questions for Dr. Weeks or myself on this or any other suggestions y'all like to give Dr. Weeks? Thank you for your presentation. And thank you. I know you have 2 school board members here. Thank you all for being here, supportive of what your work that Dr. Weeks does, and more important, the work that the staff and the teachers do in trying to make it better for these students here. As you heard, everyone, I think to a person is in agreement, we need to do this. And for economic development and folks, when we're trying to get companies to come here, we need, you're all young men, we need young men and young ladies to do what you're doing. There's jobs going to be waiting for you out there. So it's up to us to get you to a position where you're properly trained here through your high school days at TCAT or wherever else you need to go after that to get that done, because we need you. We need people exactly like y'all to be out part of this workforce, helping make Dickson County a better place to live. So we're going to work for y'all. We just got to iron some stuff out on that, but we're fully supportive of what y'all need and what the school board and Dr. Weeks is asking for. So thank you. Okay. Any other business? Well, everybody got quiet. Any announcements? Commissioner Buckner.
To make sure and do their ethics disclosure before January the 31st.
Thank you. They're
Get-
serious about that. If you've
It's
never
in your
turned it in.
pocketbook if you don't.
Any other announcements? Somebody having a function? Nobody's having a function in January. Nobody December. Hope y'all had a great Christmas. Happy New Year. The final announcement then will be the next work session meeting will be on Monday, February 6th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Buford L. Booty Reed Jr. County Commission Chamber of the Dickson County Administration Building, 4 Court Square, Charlotte, Tennessee. Have a motion second adjourn.